There's a particular kind of silence that hits after life punches you in the gut. It's the silence after you fail an exam you studied for, after you get rejected from the job you wanted, after someone tells you you're not good enough, after you fall so far behind everyone else that you start wondering if you'll ever catch up. We don't talk about this silence, but it's important, because that silence is where resilience is born. Most people think resilience means never giving up, but that's not completely true. Real resilience isn't loud, it doesn't always look powerful, and it doesn't always feel confident. Real resilience is getting knocked down and standing up shakier than before. It's breaking and choosing to rebuild. It's being terrified of failing again, yet trying anyway. Resilience is not the absence of pain. It is the decision to move with pain. Thomas Edison created the light bulb. Everyone knows that. But people forget that before he succeeded, he failed 10,000 times. When reporters asked how it felt to fail 10,000 times, he simply said, "I didn't fail. I found 10,000 ways that didn't work." That's resilience, not genius, not luck. Just the belief that failure is data, not a death sentence. When we fail, the brain activates the same regions that process physical pain. That's why rejection hurts. That's why embarrassment burns. That's why quitting feels easier than trying again. But the brain also has something called neuroplasticity, the ability to rewire itself. Every time you push through discomfort, every time you get back up, every time you say one more try, your brain literally becomes stronger. Resilience is not just character, it is biology. There was a girl who ran track. She wasn't the fastest, she wasn't the strongest, but she had a dream, to win a state championship. Every morning at 5 a.m., while her friends slept, she ran. Most days, no one noticed. Most days, she questioned herself. Then came the championship. She pushed with everything she had and finished second, not first. Everyone expected her to quit. But the next morning, she was back on the track. Alone, in the cold, with no medal, no applause, and no cameras. 2 years later, she became champion. Because resilience is not built during the moment you win. It is built during every moment no one is watching. Here are the 3 rules of resilience. Rule 1. You don't have to be fearless. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is doing it while you're terrified. Rule 2. Pain is part of the process. Growth comes with discomfort. Failure is not the enemy. Quitting is. Rule 3. Small steps still count. Some days you run. Some days you crawl. Some days all you can do is show up, and showing up is enough. A young warrior once asked an old samurai, "How do you become unbreakable?" The samurai handed him a clay cup. "Drop it," he said. The clay shattered. Then he handed him a steel cup. "Drop it." It dented but didn't break. Finally, he handed him a sword. "Drop it." The sword stayed solid. The goal, the samurai said, is not to become clay, fragile, not to become steel, stiff, but to become a sword, flexible yet strong. Resilient people bend, but they don't break. You don't become resilient by reading inspirational quotes. You become resilient by doing difficult things consistently. Wake up when you said you would. Show up on the days you don't feel motivated. Keep promises to yourself. Every tiny habit is a brick, and every brick builds a stronger mind. Sometimes life will break you. Sometimes you will fail. Sometimes you will lose people you love. Sometimes you will doubt yourself so deeply that giving up feels easier than breathing. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to fall apart. You are allowed to rest. Just never allow pain to convince you that you are done. Psychologists call it post-traumatic growth. Some people don't just recover from adversity. They rise higher because of it. They become wiser, softer, tougher, more compassionate, not despite the pain but because of it. Some storms ruin you. Some storms rebuild you. There was a tree that was struck by lightning. People thought it would die, but it grew new branches, deeper roots, and thicker bark. It didn't just survive, it became the strongest tree in the forest. You are that tree. Life will strike, but inside you, there is something unbreakable. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to win today. You just need one thing: the willingness to rise every time you fall. Because resilience does not guarantee instant success, it guarantees eventual success. So the next time life knocks you down, stay there for a moment. Feel the hurt. Breathe, and when you're ready, stand back up. One step at a time, one day at a time, one comeback at a time. Strong people are not the ones who never break. They're the ones who learn to rebuild themselves again and again and again. This is the growth theory, and this chapter of your story is not over.